There was a previous statement earlier that we want to add to. The statement was that space is made through mass. We want to either contradict or add to it, that space is made through lines. In architecture, usually the line is the presence of an absence. It describes something that is not where it stops. Our reading of the line through our precedent study was that the line can contain everything. The line has within itself structure, and it contains space. Space that then becomes unfolded. We studied the void line, how it starts becoming a structured line and how it structures the space. We then examined the viral condition of the line, what it could produce, and how it could engage. Finally, we determined what the virus would be once it engages the site. And what do you end up with? Is there something that's something of a summary, or final statement that isn't composite drawings? Is there a final moment? We always felt that these interactions are never finished, so we are thinking of these relationships as a frozen moment. At some point during the day, we should start to talk about the difference between the diagram and the virus, the difference between motivated reorganizations of matter and unmotivated reorganizations of matter. That will allow us to take an idea of formalism past the solid void abstraction into a real material light. The purpose of the body is to produce more DNA. In other words, DNA's goal is to reproduce, and it needs the body to do that. I just want to add that we're talking about the future of formalism, that there is something I have a vested interest in. Formalism will die if we can't find a better future. We know of other disciplines that have done that. Boulez took the structuralism of Schoenberg and extended it to other materials in the music. He serialized every other aspect of the music that he could serialize, short of the instrumentation, and produced a completely new form of formalism in music. This chipboard model is a perfect model of indexicality. The laser simply translating the information because it has to spend more time here, it burns more. But the burning is not romantic, it's not expressionist. It is a precise index of the information producing a new formalism, because it is working at a level of materials and not abstract sense of form. The key thing here is that there is this endless reflection upon the Eisenman studios. They are the hosts, and according to the selfish gene principle, the purpose of an Eisenman studio is the survival of Eisenman. So like the selfish gene, Eisenman has to construct a kind of interaction of genetic material, students and so on, whose primary purpose is not the survival of the students, and not the future of architecture as a discourse, but that Eisenman studio itself. For this reason I point out that we will always speak of architectural studios as an interior, in terms of what one does in the studio. We never describe the studio as a threshold, as a bridge, or as a cliff. We even form an enclosure when we have these discussions. We make this incredibly domestic space in order that the debate of the future of architecture lives on, because all of us are scared about the fact that nobody loves the architect in this country. Our survival as a species is on the line. We keep having these kinds of intimate architectural discussions to remind us what it is we love about architecture, and why architecture itself should be loved. We're scanning every drawing and every model for every moment that will allow us to meet again like a family to celebrate our own survival. With this understanding, I would like to add that the Dawkins model always implies an extraordinary excess of material that has nothing to do with the abstentional function of the organism. In this case, education, or in the case of Eisenman, well, in other words, there is stuff here that can head off in absolutely new directions, and each of these new ideas would demand a new kind of host. It would be interesting to position the student not as designing the host, but as designing a kind of renegade genetic material for which some other kind of host can arrive. That's why Eisenman's juries say, is this actually architecture? Can you believe he's still doing this? Is this still going on? This is a survival tactic. In the short term, the sturdy twisted rope of the DNA molecule could be synthesized to build a super small nanomaterial, a nanodevice with amazing biomedical applications, including precise multi-drug delivery systems to treat AIDS or cancer. Further in the future, such materials could be shaped into unimaginably powerful nanomachines and nanocomputers. Great potential exists beyond DNA's use as genetic material. In using it as a genetic engineering material, asserts Luo. That's because we now have the tools at the molecular level, such as enzymes, to design DNA molecules in a true engineering sense, with exacting control over their shape and architecture. Luo sees DNA as one of nature's ultimate polymers, a large molecule comprising many smaller ones linked together, synthesized to order through the controlled repetition of those smaller structures. In the modern macro world, long-chain polymers such as plastics